welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. It's actually been a really long time since I brought you on the milking chores with me. So Calamity here is the first to clamber up on the milk stand, and we are getting to see the full potential of her udder a little bit earlier than I really expected to, because her baby died about a week ago from coccidia. It's been a really hard kind of couple weeks for our baby goats. We have a couple more with some different issues, and I wanted to catch you up on that as well as just kind of bring you along on my day today. Now Calamity's going to be finishing her breakfast. She is making a whole ton of milk. I don't know how much milk she's making because I haven't exactly measured it, but I do know she needs to finish her breakfast. So we'll use that time to check on some of our boys. Good morning, boys. Hello, Heather. Hamish, good morning. Hi. How are you two doing? Good morning, you two. How are you? I know. Are you upset? I just love your hairdo, Odie. So I actually had Christine's baby Buckwheat back here with Odie for quite a while, and he still would be back here, but I noticed a couple days ago that Buckwheat doesn't really look good. And given our, track record for the past couple weeks, I really wanted to pull him in to the milking barn so I could watch him a lot closer. I don't come back here very often, once or twice a day, and I wanted to be able to keep a better eye on him. Buckwheat is doing okay, and once I'm done milking, we'll take a look at him as well as Breezy, because Breezy's got something else going on. You all done, Calamity? You done? Breezy. See this? See that? Oh, no. Can you put your head back? Go on. I think it was the day after Hullabaloo died, I noticed that Breezy had this swelling in her neck, and I actually haven't seen anything like that before. I know different swellings to look out for. There's bottle jaw, there's CL, and those kind of show up in different locations, so I didn't really know what was going on. This is more like right where her jaw connects to her neck, right here, and it kind of bands all the way across. So I had texted a couple of my goat friends at the same time, and essentially at the exact same time, they both were like, Heather, is that a milk goiter? And I said, I don't know. I have to Google that because I don't know what that is. So essentially what a milk goiter is essentially a swelling of their thyroid, and kids that are getting a lot of milk, a lot of rich milk and growing really fast can get these little swellings. I texted my vet as well, and she suggested just to watch it, maybe supplement her feed with some iodized salt. But what I decided to do instead was something that my friend Megan suggested to me, is I've been spraying iodine on her tail. Need to check on Margie, see how she's doing with this pump. No. They keep knocking you over today. Mind your own business. Mind your own business. Yeah, that's impossible, isn't it? Come on, maybe we need to go in the milking parlor, okay? I want to show the people. So that's essentially what I've been doing. Not every day. I did read that you can overdose them on iodine. It's probably pretty hard to do by giving them the iodine topically like I am. From what I understand, if their body doesn't need the iodine, their skin just won't absorb it. And I had given it for like 3 days straight and noticed that the goiter had shrunk. So I stopped giving it and it started to grow again. So I think I just need to use that goiter as my guide as to what her needs are. It is something that she is going to grow out of, usually right around weaning age, depending, if not weaning age, then around 9 months old, that goiter just heals itself and goes away. Speaking of weaning though, you may notice that Christine's a little lopsided. When I pulled buckwheat off of her, she did get congested udder on one side, and I worked really hard to clear that up and not allow her to get mastitis, but in doing so it did really dry her up essentially on one side. So I hope it won't impact her for her next lactation, but we're just gonna have to see. So Christine's baby is buckwheat, and remember, buckwheat's having his own set of issues right now. I did pull him, like I mentioned, into the barn. I kind of expected her to nurse him, but she's not doing it. She kicks him off. You guys officially killed that, didn't you? Need to get that out of here. So buckwheat does not look very good, guys. He's pretty skinny, kind of bony. Can you turn and let him see? See this bulge right here under his chin? This lump is different than the lump that Breezy has. This here is bottle jaw. And believe it or not, the bottle jaw on buckwheat is actually looking a lot better than it did. It was really, really big. I actually thought for a second that he got a bee sting, which would not be abnormal. The pen that he was in is right behind my honeybees, and there's a lot of clover in all of the fields. And so, come here, buddy. Come on. No, no. But in combination with poor condition, his bottle jaw, he was kind of hunchy, he had softer than normal poos. I just knew something was going on with him, and it happened pretty quickly. Now I noticed that he wasn't in as great condition as some of our other goats that we're keeping back for meat, so I had increased their feed ration. I had put a protein pail in there with them, but that wasn't doing the trick. So clearly he has some parasites. I actually stood around for a while the other day waiting for him to poop so I could take a fecal, and he just didn't. So I went ahead and just gave him the full panel. I gave him stuff for coccidia, I gave him stuff for worms, I gave him some iron that's supposed to help with his anemia. Here, let's see. Actually, he does look a little bit more peachy and a lot less pale on his famacha. So because that swelling is going down, I really think he's on the mend. I just wish Christine would nurse him. It would really help put weight back on him. So one of the things that I am going to start implementing that I haven't really had to do in years past is keeping a very close eye, a very frequent eye on the baby goats and their famachas. So you saw me pull down the eyelid on buckwheat outside. What I was looking for was his famacha score or his anemia score. If he's real pale on the inside of the lid, they're dealing with some kind of anemia, and it doesn't always have to come from worms. It can come from coccidia. And so if I can notice a particular goat is going on a decline, I can run a fecal real quickly and not wait for symptoms like poor thrift and diarrhea and stuff like that, because baby goats, as we've seen recently, can go down very fast. Look at this cuddle. Hi, Tori. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I actually haven't been putting the babies away at night lately and doing our kids share with them. So a lot of these mamas that I'm putting on the stand today appear to have empty udders. And that's because they do. The babies have been taking a lot of milk, which might actually not be an amazing thing for at least Breezy with that milk goiter. This is her mama Talia, and so I think with at least Breezy I'm gonna have to start separating at night. But really, we're getting about 2 gallons a day out of these girls without separating the kids at night, and honestly, that's a lot of milk. That's plenty of milk for me to deal with every week. It's really helping Elpis's triplets grow very, very well. I actually haven't weighed them in a while, and I'd like to see how well they're gaining being a mama full-time, so we'll weigh them in a little bit. And the reason that I'm putting the mamas up on the stand and milking them, regardless of them having milk in their udder or not, is I want to keep them used to this process, and I also want to give them a chance to get as much feed as they can. I do feed the whole barn a little bit of grain, but with the goats all fighting over it, I want to make sure that my mamas that are feeding babies or my milkers are getting as much as they should. So it's actually been 2 weeks since I weighed the babies, and I've got their weights here. Since then, I have weaned Tori off of a bottle, and I haven't fed any bottles to the triplets either. I've just been leaving them on Elpis full time. I am getting a tiny bit of milk out of her, but only a cup out of a La Mancha means that they are getting quite a lot of milk during the day, which should be helping them grow quite a lot. All right, I can tell already that her Famacha looks really good. See if I can get it on camera. See how red that is in there? That's very good. Sorry, Tor, come here. You gonna go that way? All right. $21.25 pounds. Woo. Pretty good in there. Now, Shindy is one that was experiencing the tiniest bit of diarrhea, and the second that I saw it on her, I treated all the mini La Manchas for coccidia, because that's the issue that we had running around our barn. And I recently did a fecal on her, and the fecal turned out really well. She only had 1 worm egg and 1 coccidia oocyst, which you will generally see really low levels of both. In all goats, it's ideal to see none, but it's not unusual or unhealthy to see a really low level, and so I'm really happy with what I saw. 20 pounds on the nose. Holy cow. She's gained 3 pounds in 2 weeks, which is really good. That's really good. That's what I wanted to see. Good girl. She's a little bit more pale than her sister. Still not horrible. Fury 19.5, which is just less than 3 pounds gained in 2 weeks. I'm actually really impressed. I didn't expect this much out of them. Whoop, this way. There you go. Pretty good. Pretty good. Tizzy gained the least. She gained 2.5 pounds, but that still means she's gained about 1.25 pounds every week, which I am very, very happy about. Here we have little Miss Sunny. Sunny has cropped up with a new bout of scouring. She's the one that originally started out with the coccidia scouring in the barn close to a month ago, and it had cleared up once I treated her. She's been dewormed. I don't really know what's going on, but really the only way to know what's going on is to take another fecal. So you need to poop for me. I'm gonna keep her in the milking parlor here with me for a little bit to see if I can get her to poop so I can get a fecal. But it has been a couple weeks since she had her last round of coccidia meds, so I think I am gonna redose her with those. And I am going to give her a different class of dewormer just as a precaution. She's just over 11 pounds. Little peanut. I'm a peanut. So out of all of the things I'm going to be giving Sunny today, this one stings. This is ivermectin plus, so I'm going to save this for last. I am going to dose her with a very little bit of iron to help with her anemia. And then I have the coccidia medicine. This is Baycox. Apparently coccidia has a really fast, rapid cycle, breeding cycle, life cycle. And so you can see several different rounds of coccidia in any given year, and that's part of what makes them such a pain. 3 mLs because of her weight. Come here, baby. With this iron, I'm only going to give her 1 ml. You can give it subcutaneously or in the muscle. I'm going to give it to her sub-Q. Sub-Q right here behind her elbow. There's a pocket of skin right there, and it's hard when you're by yourself. Just be careful. A lot of people keep dairy goats on their homestead for dairy. That's their main focus. And that's what we want out of our goats too. We like the dairy, we love the meat. The meat's delicious, and the goats have been a really huge and amazing part of this homestead and of this farm. They have brought a lot to this farm. Now, our land, really, honestly, it's not conducive to having the healthiest herd of goats. And so we are spending, and it will take quite a while, but we're spending time to really kind of cherry pick the animals that we keep on our farm, because we need to have goats that can handle being challenged with something and persevering through it. So we have goats that are in the same herd, exposed to the same things that Sunny has been exposed to, that it's like it bounces off of them. It's like nothing happens to them. And those are the goats that we need to keep and we need to breed, because it's just not, it's not fair to the animals that maybe aren't as adapted or adaptable to this space to keep them here. So Sunny is on our cull list. I do have a local friend who expressed interest in one of Bearley's does, and so I'm going to be offering Sunny to her for free. If she wants her. Sunny could do very well on a herd that has land that's higher up, that's a lot less boggy. She just isn't going to be a good fit here. It's not smart, even though she is registered and she does have really good milk lines behind her. It's not smart to keep her here if she's not going to be healthy. I really don't have interest in piggybacking needy, sick animals. First things for us is parasite resistance. We don't have a choice. We really have to keep animals and breed animals that have some sort of parasite resistance all on their own without needing medication. Not that I won't ever give medication, I do. I mean, I give them the benefit of the doubt that we do live in a swamp and it's really not the most amazing situation for goats in general, but to have an animal that kind of constantly needs help, that's an animal that unfortunately has to go. So it's smart for us to move Sunny on. And so yeah, some of the animals that are going to go are making themselves known, and it is hard, but it's also really encouraging because I can see the development of a really strong herd happening here. Actually, it's been quite a while since I took you guys down to the pond. We have about 6.5 acres that these goats get to roam on and forage, and it is a little bit swampy and boggy. It's been a little while since it rained, so it probably isn't too bad. I need to do a fence line walk anyway, so let's go check it out. You guys gonna come with me? No. All right. You gonna come with me? Oh my goodness, rude. So right here is our barn, and this front pasture is what we call the barn pasture. And then we have this little lane that comes across into our very large pond pasture. This is a little bit more than 4 acres back here. So you can see our pond through the trees there. The goats have full access to this pond area. They're actually going to join us. Look at them. One of the reasons that we opened up this pasture back here was actually a couple reasons, but the hope was that the browse that we have around our pond here would help the goats and give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the fact that goats prefer browse. They thrive better on browse. When their noses are close to the ground, they're a lot more likely to pick up things like worms and coccidia and things like that. But it's kind of a balance because the browse that we have happens to be around a pond. We do have a little bit of a slug issue. Slugs can be vectors for other worm species that goats can really have a hard time with. This is what we have to work with. And so I can see in my herd that I have animals that do just fine with this. They do great. They actually thrive. They don't just do fine, they do really well. So we do have some really amazing goats with some really amazing pedigrees behind them. Sunny's registered and she has some really good milk lines, but more than that, if you're new to the channel, this is Calamity. She's a mess. But more than nice papers and show wins and milk stores and whatever, we need goats that can handle this. We need goats that are going to be really great homestead animals that need minimal inputs, not no inputs. I'm not naive enough to think that I'll never have to put inputs into my goats. I know I'm going to have to. Why? What do you have against Tori? Oh, poor Tori. I truly believe that there are animals out there because I see them in my own herd, that have the best of both worlds. They have the parasite resistance, and they do have decent milk capabilities. My goat Margie, she was a rescue, and she has produced ironclad kids, as I mentioned it before. Kids where it just seems like nothing hurts them. And not that Margie's never been sick, she has, but it's been super minimal. I probably only have to treat her once a year and her kids maybe once a year. So this is Tallulah. Tallulah is one of Margie's triplets. She's grown really well. I haven't had to do anything with her. Her parasite resistance seems to be really good. She has seen the same things that Sunny has seen and has not experienced those things in the same way that Sunny has. So the difference between Tallulah and Sunny, besides their genetics, is the fact that Tallulah is not registered and Sunny is. So in theory, she'd be worth more because you can see more of what she's made of on paper. But I can see what the goats are made out of on pasture, and that matters way, way more to me as a homesteader. Some of our hardiest animals truly have been our Nigerian dwarf goats, and I enjoy the capacity that the La Manchas can bring as far as milk capacity goes, and that's why I started breeding mini La Manchas, because the hope is that crossing the two breeds could eventually give us the best of both worlds, could give us a quality animal that gives us not only lots of great quality milk in the pail, but out on pasture they have a really good resistance to the things that they unfortunately have to encounter here. I can see the vision for our herd coming to fruition. There's going to be growing pains as we develop the herd, and unfortunately the cull list is starting to come together. So I will let you guys know exactly who we're planning to cull. As fall comes closer, I have no problem keeping whoever out on pasture while we have grass growing, but I'm not going to be bringing our culls into winter. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a couple months before I really decide who's on our cull list, but it's surprised me, and some of the culls might surprise you.